A PlayStation blog post from Chris Zimmerman, the co-founder of Sucker Punch, has given us a load more details regarding katana combat, gameplay mechanics, stances, and all that kind of stuff within Ghost of Tsushima. I will of course link the article in the description if you want to go ahead and check the whole thing out. It's a really interesting read, and there are a couple of short videos embedded in the article as well, showing how some of these things will play out in the game. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future Ghost of Tsushima videos. First off, Sucker Punch say that their goal has always been to capture the heart of the samurai fantasy, to transport you back to feudal Japan to live through the beauty and danger of Tsushima Island under attack. We play as Jin Sakai, who has trained his whole life the samurai way, watchful, precise, disciplined, and deadly. He's a master of the katana, confident horseman, and skilled with the bow. Zimmerman then goes on to make the point that their goal could only be possible if they could capture the right feel of the katana, and that the game wouldn't succeed if this element didn't look, sound, or feel quite right, which is why they took inspiration from the combat in classic and modern samurai films, in particular 13 Assassins, but the things that work in movies don't always work in games, so there was still a lot of work that needed to be done. In the end, they chose to focus on three key aspects: speed, sharpness, and precision. Starting with speed, Sucker Punch wanted their attacks to be fast. Now, katanas aren't heavy. They only weigh around 2 or 3 pounds, so quick slashing attacks are at the center of most katana fighting styles. And all of the attacks in the game were captured using their motion capture stage, so they all represent realistic movement speeds. However, they did go on to say that those realistic speeds did cause a problem because they were too fast. It takes about 0.3 seconds on average for a human to react to a visual stimulus, no matter how simple that stimulus may be. Now obviously these times vary from person to person, but they ran a load of internal tests and 0.3 seconds is the average reaction time. The problem with that is a lot of the initial design work on the katana combat was dancing around those limits. There was no issue with your attacks, of course, as they can program the NPCs to react instantly. The problems came up when the NPCs attacked the player that fast, as they were attacking faster than players could react. This created an imbalance early on in development, as it became a process of just smashing the quick attack button to battle these enemies, and that isn't the deep combat experience that they wanted. So they changed a couple of things to address this issue. They realized that whilst there is a limit to how fast players can react, there's no limit as to how fast they can anticipate. If an enemy launches into an attack string, they need to give the player enough time to react to the first string of that attack, but as subsequent attacks can be anticipated, they can happen incredibly fast. They go on to give an example that one of the Mongols uses a 5-hit combo, with the first attack being slow enough to react to, but the other 4 hits will come at you fast, because you know you're being attacked, so you should be able to get your blocks and parries in. They have also overlapped the enemy attacks to create some added pressure and intensity to the combat. What that means is rather than one enemy attacking you at a time, whilst you're fighting one, another will be winding up an attack. No enemies will just be standing around idle, waiting to be attacked. There will just be unrelenting aggression. The result of this combat system is players will have just enough time to deal with each attack as it lands, and just like in the samurai movies, there will often be 2 or 3 attackers in the middle of an attack sequence. They wanted players to be a little nervous about jumping into these fights, but feel exhilarated afterwards, because that's exactly how Jin feels. Barely in control, barely alive, but moving forward nonetheless. The second area they wanted to focus on was sharpness. Respect the katana was a mantra for Sucker Punch during development. Jin's family katana, called the Sakai Storm, is a meter of razor-edged steel, wielded with malice, and that needed to be respected. With the inspiration coming from samurai films, you're typically looking at a handful of cuts being enough to take down even the toughest of enemies. And they didn't want to stray too far from that. Whilst experimenting with letting the enemies absorb more damage, they felt that they could take too many hits before falling, and the sword no longer felt sharp. So that all makes sense as to why the enemies we saw in the State of Play trailer went down after only a couple of hits. However, this would obviously create an imbalance if Jin wasn't subject to the same rules. The Mongols keep their weapons just as sharp, and Jin can't ignore cuts any more than the Mongols can. This helps to balance the combat. So just as Jin can take down enemies in a few hits, the enemies can also take Jin down just as quickly if you're not careful. so don't expect to be able to slice through enemies without leaning on the blocking or parrying functions. The speed and intensity of the combat help too, as Jin will spend as much time defending as he does attacking, which slows down how quickly he can deal out damage. Zimmerman also adds that late in development they had a huge success in building more defensive tactics for the Mongols, with blocking, parrying and dodging to sidestep the damage problem. And the final big focus area was precision. The katana is a weapon that rewards precision, a lifetime of discipline and practice to make exactly the right cut at exactly the right moment. It was important that the players get that same sense of precision and those same demands of discipline and practice. This starts with responsiveness, ensuring that Jin responds instantly to the player's input. They've worked hard to make the animations fluid and to flow naturally between movements, but if forced to make a choice, responsiveness wins over physical accuracy. Jin will also have slower, more powerful attacks, but these can be instantly cancelled at any point, leaving Jin free to respond to unexpected events. So if you're winding up a heavy attack but you spot someone rushing you, you are able to cancel this attack and go into another movement so you're not caught off guard. They go on to talk a little bit about stances in the blog post as well. Jin can attack his enemies in dozens of different ways, but choosing exactly the right attack at the right moment is crucial. Jin is forced to evolve beyond the lessons he was taught, to incorporate what he learns from observing and fighting the Mongols. These lessons are distilled into new stances, collections of new attack techniques which the player can switch to at any point. Each stance is designed to be particularly effective against a subset of the enemy types that Jin will face. Switching between stances based on who Jin faces will amplify his deadliness. We've got a couple of examples here as well. The stone stance is his ancestral style developed to fight other swordsmen, so it will work well against the Mongol swordsman, and you can then swap over to the water stance to create an opening against shield men. Jin devised the water stance in frustration after the techniques he's practiced for decades proved to be ineffective against the Mongol shieldmen, so stance switching will be another important element of keeping Jin alive during these battles. Sounds like another really interesting mechanic. To finish the blog post off, they say that all of these things, speed, sharpness and precision, combine to produce an experience they think players will love. More precision means a more effective player, meaning things can get much faster and get more deadly to match. So that was a look at the katana combat side of the game. I swear every time I see a news article or some story on this game, I get more excited for it. It genuinely just looks incredible. I know it's not out yet, but it could potentially be Game of the Year. Let me know what you think of this stuff down in the comments. Thanks as ever for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss any future Ghost videos, and I shall see you guys again soon.